Alright, hey guys, this is Bezmor, and I've got a great group PK video for you today. I know it's been a while. Sorry, life got busy. But anyways, I'm gonna get right into it, because there was, at the end of the night, Karma had about 20 people, and then we were fighting three different factions, Drakon, GoldDigrz, and VolkonDigrz, and they had, gosh, probably 20 something people as well, so it was just a massive PK. But anyways, here I was in. We had two squads, one full squad, and then the side squad that I'm in, which is me and three sins. Um, but anyways, I got purged in the first second of a fight. I think to an archer. I don't know what caused it, but that really was a bummer. Because as a psychic, fully buffed means everything. Fully buffed psychics can even get away with just black voodooing through a lot of hate damage. And here, I got partially rebuffed, but I missed the Fizz Def buff because my cleric got stunned, which is no one's fault per se. But again, it just means that I have base PDEF, which is not good. It means in Black Voodoo, I cannot tank fully buffed Goth classes. So Sins are dangerous, BMs are dangerous. It's kind of a risk. And so here, as you can see, BM gets on me, but he reflected a Dragon Rise in his own face. Sucks to be you. But anyways, that's something you're going to see throughout this whole video is heavy armor pressure is a big annoyance to AAs. And when heavy armors get on you, that's actually the best use of Soul of Stunning and Soul of Retaliation, is it just messes with them so hard. Because if I throw up Soul of Stunning, which is the obvious choice, because if it works, it's like 12 to 13 seconds that this BM can't hit me, that buys me so much time and one less guy hitting me, right? I mean, obviously, if there's 3 BMs on you, it only works on one of them, but still, having to deal with 2 BMs as opposed to 3 BMs is a huge deal. But Soul of Stunning is really obvious and easy to counter with a Fortify. So while it's not, while it is better in theory, Soul of Retaliation is great when heavy armors are sitting on you, because when they paralyze themselves, there's literally nothing they can do unless they have a belief genie, and they believed while they were doing it. So when you're getting, as an AA, as a psychic in particular, if you have people peeling you, A, make sure your Soul of Silence is up, because that's the biggest thing, but Soul of Stunning and Soul of Retaliation in fights like this, where it's just huge group chaos, are actually best used to just peel for yourself, because that either CC Reflect or Mass Stun duration is going to be huge. But as you can see, I'm just getting pretty heavily focused here, and I got in my Psychic Will right there, which pretty much saved my life, because then I could cycle into Genie next if necessary, and here I got Dragon Rise despite a Purify proc, but then I got another Purify proc, and I managed to live there. I put down the Soul of Retaliation, and I blew an Apoth cooldown, because I was like, you know what, I don't know what's going on, there's too much around me, there's a Vino around me, if I lose these buffs, then I'm taking like full damage. I was just like, you know what, blow the Apoth cooldown, and it buys me a little bit of time, despite the fact that this Barb just stays on me, and he's trying to clean sweep, despite the fact that I have 0 PDEF buffs already. But anyways, yeah, it was really awkward in this fight. You're going to see a lot of running around, and it's because for the first half of the fight, I was in a squad with, as I said, 3 Sins, and 3 Sins are just, they're on the edges of the fights like sniping people. That's kind of their job. And so I can't really assist too much, because all the people I'm in vent with right now are in the other squad. The buffers and the cleric, they're all in the other squad, and so it's like, I'm kind of like lost at this point, so I'm just trying to survive, because I can't even get rebuffed very easily, because I can't get BM or bar buff, because the ones in my squad are just buffers, they're in the safe zone, and the ones in the other squad obviously can't buff me, and we had 1 cleric and 1 BM for almost the entire fight. We got a second BM in the last round of PvP, but yeah, for the entire duration we had 1 cleric and 1 BM, which was crazy, because the other side, they had 4 BMs, and I think they had I know for sure they had 1 cleric. I don't know if they had more than 1. But this also, it just made the importance of buffs was really big in this fight, because A, we had very little to rebuff our side with. B, in the entire fight, there was 1 Vino on the enemy side to purge, right? And that 1 Vino, I think they quit after like 2 rounds because they were getting destroyed. So they had 1 active purge, and they had 3 archers to purge with. We had 0 archers until the midway of the first round. We picked up 1 archer, and we had 0 Vinos. So we had no purge other than 1 to 2 barbs with clean sweep, and then BM with purge pull. So it's like 3 purges that are terrible chance to purge. So Anyways, as you can see, I've been purged multiple times in this fight. I think 3 times so far already. And so I'm just trying to stay alive because I want to keep people on me even if I can't do anything about it. And here, I'm in White Voodoo, but then with the assistance of the Sin and my squad, we're able to still put pressure on this guy because somehow he got purged. I don't even know how. Maybe he like rezzed or came out without buffs or something. But anyways, quick note there, don't alacrity your target when you're trying to run away. It doesn't work so well. But yeah, as you can see, even in white, I'm still able to put pressure on some LAs, thankfully, but he went so far out that it was just kind of like not worth it. And we wanted to get back into the middle of the fight here. And get on targets that are actually going to be doing something a little bit more important. Despite the fact that it is a purge and removing it from the field is important, it wasn't worth chasing out that far because taking one of our hardest hitting Sins that far out of the battle as well as one of our magic DDs is just like not worth it. Now here, this positioning was a little bit questionable on my part, definitely. I was kind of in a bad spot. I was in the middle of a fight, so as you can see, the heavy armors are just kind of like flocking towards the squishy psychic. They're like, kill it with fire, because I have no buffs. But thankfully, White Voodoo plus Ink Dragon crit reduction plus the fact that between Nation War pots and the Ink Dragon, I mean, I'm at like 920 something spirit. So, pretty high spirit means I don't get one shot per se, but without any of the buffs, it's if I get multiple targets on me, I'm pretty much gonna die. So here I got knocked out of the air, and you'll notice in the air, I have easily less, like half the pressure that I have when I'm on the ground. When I'm on the ground, heavy armors, when they notice me, immediately flock over and start to do stuff. Like right now, I've got a full plus 12 BM trying to chase me down. But when I'm in the air, for the most part, the pressure is like super reduced. So in the second fight, or second round of this massive PK that was going on, we abused the air a lot. But for right now, I'm on the ground, I'm just burning cooldowns. It's 1 BM, so it's not a big deal. And he realizes he's not going to get anything out of this. Like, he's like, I've been chasing this psychic, nothing is really happening, I'm just taking the charm. So he goes away, and I went up into the air so I could kind of like rebuild some chi, make sure I was good to go, get reset sort of. I didn't have Genie because I just expelled it. So here, I notice I have 0 pressure now because that BM gave up on me. So I switch to Black Voodoo and immediately go for a focus target. The enemy's Vino, their one source of purge, which is a huge advantage in this fight since, like I said, there's literally only one Vino in the whole fight. And I'm starting to apply pressure because nobody's on me. I still don't have buffs, but because I know in my mind I don't have buffs, the second I saw my damage log scroll with that archer damage, and I saw the archer as well, I dropped my psychic will, 0 hesitation, and here, he blew an Apoth cooldown to try and offensively go all in on me. And the BM was helping him, so this would have been a kill, but then the BM left right as the Sin joined into the fight, and so I just kind of blew my expel cooldown and was like, alright, thanks for playing. Now, see, if that BM had stayed there and gone for more CCs, or something like that, I could have died there easily. A Sin plus an Archer while the BM is CCing and hitting that, and I have no buffs, right? Like, that was a GG, but they had the, like, lack of coordination there, so I got lucky and lived there. But anyways, here, I'm trying to apply my pressure, so I'm on an Archer, of course, because if they're free shooting, you're either doing something wrong or there's a Vino that you better be killing, because otherwise Archer should have no reason to live. And here we got his cooldown. He drops to the ground though, and because I know I can have more freedom in the air, I'm not dropping to follow him. If I hit the ground, I know there's going to be some heavy armors chasing me. I'm like, no way. So here I notice the other Archer is still here, and I notice I get a couple of cleric buffs, so I'm like, yes, let's go. And this Archer, he blew his Apoth just a second ago, and right here he messes up. He uses a Will Surge, and so what I do is I don't want to get randomly purged and like critted, even though I don't think that would kill me. So I blow my AD, and then I stun him. And even if he had like a Belief Genie to get out of the stun or something, it wouldn't matter because he used Will Surge, so he doesn't have enough energy to do anything. So that Will Surge actually cost him because he had no Genie left to try and do anything. Like, he could have AD'd and then run away or stealthed or something like that. So immediately, knowing like how you can get away with things, like he didn't have any anti-stunts up and he just blew a minor Genie cooldown, means he probably won't see a Vector coming, Vector into an immediate kill. So here I drop to the ground, and as you can see, heavy armor just shows up right on top of me. And this was not just me. Like, our cleric was pretty much sat on the entire night, because when you have one cleric trying to heal 18 other people, obviously they can't do everything. Plus, when you have 3 BMs or a barb or something just sitting on the cleric, it makes it almost impossible to actually do their job. And the wizards, of course, were also like, yep, I've just got a guy sitting on me, he's been on me for the past 20 minutes, and even randomly, like, the barb was like, yeah, this other barb's been trying to hit me forever, I don't know what's going on. So, as you can see, I went back up into the air because I was like, no, I don't want to get focused, but then I came back down to apply my damage, and here I'm in Black Voodoo, 0 pressure on me, just fully open up on this archer and try to kill him, get him through the expel, and that's good because as you can see we had a lot of physical DDs there, but when they expel, magic DDs are what you need to get the finishers, and so unless you have seekers, you gotta have some mages. And we had a pretty decent amount. We ended up at the end of the night, I think we had 3 wizards and 1 psychic. So anyways, here I noticed this wizard on the outside, and I was like, well, I can't find any other good targets currently, since I think we just pretty much wiped 2 archers within the past minute. So I was like, alright, I'm going to go on the wizard, because we're also relying pretty heavily on Physimmunes. Our team was just expelling back and forth, left, right, and center. And the other thing is the cleric is like, even though, oh yeah, they had 2 clerics. But even though their clerics are both squishy, the fact that they can drop 1 heal, 1 purify, rebuff targets is important. And the reason I holy pathed in a giant circle right there to get to this side of the fight was because I was going to go straight through to get to that 1 cleric, but there was a bunch of heavy armors in the way, and I was like, if I go through there, they're all going to be like, Tab, oh look, psychic, kill it! So I went around the side, but here, I think I ended up dying soon after this. It's coming up. I died 3 times in the entire fight, I think, and one of them was because my charm died. But yeah, here, I'm on the ground, I'm in Black Voodoo, and I have 1 buff, which means I'm only at like 20k PDEF maybe, so I'm pretty squishy. And here, I was switching squads so that all the people I was actually talking to, I would be able to help them, I'd be able to expel them, I'd be able to ice them, I'd be able to heal them, etc, etc, etc. So I was switching squads, and then, this is kind of like, this moment in your head should be bad. You see a bunch of heavy armor classes like directly in front of you. Even if they're your classes, you gotta be careful about your positioning. So right here, thankfully, those are all my heavy armors that were standing right in front of me, but had that been bad guys, you should immediately start to kite back or get into the air or do something, because it's not the position you want to be in. You want to keep distance away. So here, I'm looking for a good target, and I notice this guy's in the air, so I think I'd go up into the air to try and chase him. And that BM may have been coming for me, so it was actually really good timing to go into the air. And again, we're just staying on the archers, because the archers are their purge, pretty much. The Vino is useless. They're no comment. But anyways, we looks like we killed the target, so I'm dropping back down to the ground. I have decent buffs now. I don't have Bell, but I have Physimmune and I have my HP buff, so I'm not going to get 1 shot really. And I'm just, even though hitting BMs is normally bad, I think somebody called an assist on this guy. So we were hitting him and he blows his cooldowns. And this is where it gets bad, because you see 1 BM is running to me, 1 Seeker is hitting me, an Archer is already hitting me, and then 2 more BMs are about to show up. So right here, 3 BMs are in the vicinity, and that BM who just ran off is actually going to turn around and hit me with some range damage, it looks like. Something. But I just get wrecked. And so I called to my squad, I was like, I need help, I need help, I need help. And as you can see, the Barb ran over to help me. But there was just nothing I could do because I died through Iron Guard. You see the cooldown, it goes off, and it's like, alright. I either lagged, and there was really not much more I could do there. I blew every cooldown before dying, so it's not like I could have done anything better. The only way to survive a situation like that is to not get into that situation in the first place, which is positioning or recognizing, like, as soon as I saw the Seeker and the BM were 2-manning me, I should have recognized that, like, okay, there's gonna be some bad damage coming, get into the air or kite the other direction, just move, so that immediately when the other 2 people also joined into that fight, and in my damage log I could see the Archer as well, it's like, alright, this is about to be bad, get out of this position or get into the air so that the BMs are going to be forced to not CC you. So again, positioning is huge, and just awareness of the situation and what's going on. And I called for help, and the Barb came over and he tried, but it was just, you know, when there's 3 BMs, a Seeker, and an Archer on you, it's like, well, not much a Barb can do. Like, he can take care of one of the BMs for me, and then the BM, he came in just a little bit too late, so it's like, you know, it's okay. But the nice thing is my team was actually trying to help everybody. Like, there was so much intercommunication about, like, hey, I'm gonna die, I need help, or hey, I need you to help me with this cooldown, etc, etc, etc. So anyways, I get back out, just get right back into the fight. There's no really time when you have this much PK going on. It's just too crazy. You gotta get back out there even if you don't have buffs. Fully buffing is just gonna lose your team the fight. So anyways, I get on this cleric, and I was going to prevent them from doing anything, because see, I sealed them, and then it would have stopped that God Seal on our team's cleric, but the Mystic randomly got a Sage Purify proc. So then they removed my seal, and she got the God Seal off, which was kind of a bummer, but at the very least, like, God Sealing her cleric means she's at least not gonna die, which is really good for us. So I just stay on this cleric, stun, trying to go in, but it looks like another Purify proc. But anyways, we killed the cleric, and a Sin jumps on me, immediately react with Expel. Even though certain Sins aren't that good at killing, their damage is so high, and since I'm only at 1 PDEF buff right now, I didn't want to take chances. So just expel, get to a safe spot, and I dropped to the ground because I realized we were kind of having a balance shift at this point. We were gaining pressure on the ground, and so I dropped to the ground even though it's normally very dangerous, so that I could help apply maximum pressure. And so I'm here just unloading damage on as many targets as I can, and at this point just calling a couple assists, and we're trying to like clean out as many people while we have this pressure. And I think this might be the end of the first round because it looks like we pretty much have wiped the majority of the players. So here, finishing off a Seeker, I think he used a last stand into an Apoth right there. So yeah, he last standed into an Iron Guard. Otherwise he definitely would have died because me and the Wizard are both just kind of there ready to hit him. So we switched to the Wizard, or I mean we were both switching to like random targets for a second, but we knew that in a few seconds that guy's Apoth would run out and then we'd be able to kill him. So here, this guy, everybody's focusing him, he goes down, and then we're back on this Seeker, who now, he has no last stand cooldown, no Apoth cooldown, there's his AD cooldown. This is dead waiting to happen pretty much. So anyways, going all in, I think he might have been the last person alive, possibly. And the funny thing is he's targeting a barb. Like, if you're gonna be like the last guy standing, oh no, the Sin's the last guy standing, but targeting the barb is like the last thing you should be doing. He should definitely like pick the squishiest person he can and like all in, or he should just run to safe zone because it's GG at that point. But anyways, that was the end of the first round. As you can see, pretty chaotic, pretty crazy. There's so much there's so many times in this video that you'll see it's like the buffs make a huge difference. If I don't have buffs, I know I'm not entirely safe, so I have to play careful. I have to just run around in circles, etc., etc., etc. And my priority when I go into group PvP like this is keep myself alive, keep my team alive. When I have an opportunity, do damage. You know, there's a lot of people that their only instinct is do damage. Now, if you're playing an assassin or an archer, that's a good instinct to have. But also on both those classes, there are ways to play in a manner such that you will be safe. And as a psychic, it's very easy to think stay alive because you literally hit the white voodoo button and then you spam Physimmunes for all, you know, eternity. And that's the way I play, is when the opportunity presents itself to apply pressure, I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna go Black Voodoo. I'm gonna try to get as much damage out as I possibly can, but at the same time, I'm gonna try to keep myself as alive as much as possible, because just being on the field, that presence, the numbers, the seals, the random move seals from Glacial Shards, it's so important. So anyways, in this part of the fight, my cleric is calling for help. She's ticking, she's knowing things are going badly, and she's already called for help, and so I was like, I need to ice her, but I was getting spam CC'd, but I was like, I don't want the cleric to die, so I'm gonna troll, drop my absolute domain, just so that I can channel Spirit Phalanx, boom, ice, get the cleric while she's on the ground getting focused by a ton of people. And the nice thing was that 10-second ice bought time for my Blade Master and Barb to run over to her, and I think he mass disarmed, or something like that, the people that were directly on her, so then she has no problem getting out of that. And so it's a huge big cooldown like that when you really need to save people. I use it in Nation War a lot of the time. So Spirit Phalanx is hands down the only Mirai skill of use. Troll Shroud, as I call it, aka Shroud and Shadow, I think is the actual name of the skill. It's very useful, but it's high chi cost and short duration. It's just it's very situational to use it. So anyways, as you can see here, I'm on the ground. I've got an archer on me. I've got Barb just sitting on me, and a BMs are randomly in and out hitting me and whatnot. So I'm staying white because I do not feel comfortable going Black Voodoo. If I go Black Voodoo, and like if I had gone Black Voodoo like 2 seconds earlier, then that Sin, Seeker, Archer, and BM would have all been hitting me. And despite full buffs, Black Voodoo means my defense level is like 40 something. I think it's like 45. Maybe. So like it's just risky, and at the same time, because this Barb is spamming his Purge Genie skill, like eventually it's gonna purge me, like unless I kill him, right? But it's a Barb, so I don't want to waste the time. So had I just been purged at the same time, it would have been like, I'm dead. So I'm just trying to play safe, survive, because I mean, if they're gonna waste like all these people just chasing around, throwing damage at a White Voodoo Psychic, that means A, they're not hitting any of our Sins, they're not hitting any of our Wizards, they're not hitting our Cleric. That's okay. I can live with that. So here, I'm just trying to apply as much pressure as possible, and you'll see pretty much I'm playing between Purify procs. Like when Purify procs, I use it to put a gap between me and all the people chasing me. And when it's not proccing, I'm just hitting squishy people like LAs, like Sins and Archers and whatnot. And here I drop cooldowns because I was just like, must stay alive, must preserve buffs as long as possible. Because again, fully buffed means a lot. And I think this is like the third lap around the fight. Like I'm just literally doing circles here. It looks like the Seeker there position swapped with me, but it really didn't do any good because nobody was ready to back him up on it. And again, I'm in white voodoo, so I'm not really gonna die to a seeker. But here, the bow purge comes through, and this is what I've been dreading for so long: is I'm gonna be purged, I'm gonna be on the ground, this is gonna hurt. But here, I blow my expel cooldown, and thankfully their magic damage is not enough. They didn't have the archers, the archer used quick shot, and the seeker was only doing their like weakest metal skill. But I ended up dying there, and oh, I remember now, my charm died. And so I had called for help, and I was like, I'm gonna get screwed right here. I got purged. Please help me. I got an expel in, and the barb was like running towards me, and then I was like, wait a minute, my charm's gone. I'm gonna die anyway. Just forget it. And so like working with your team, letting them know when you're completely dead versus mostly dead. Princess Bride reference for the win. It's just helpful things you can do. And when your charm's dead, unless you have another one in your inventory, just die. Get back out into the fight, reset. It's not your fault. Move along. But anyways, so as you can see there, I was dragging those people in circles forever and wasting their time. And if they want to, do that, that's fine with me because it buys my team time to do whatever. It's pressure relief pretty much. And you can see like my cleric is constantly getting Dragon Rise. She's constantly getting expelled by her teammates, blowing every cooldown. So I mean, it's just crazy. And so the more people you have out there, in particular as a psychic, your ability to be buffed and just sit in white voodoo and soak damage is ridiculous. So when they hate target you, you just go white voodoo, you let them soak, and then let your team screw them over in return. So anyways, that's my kind of philosophy of psychics is you have to be ready to go black and just lay down the damage when it's time. But when it's not time, it's time to live, because living means not losing. And not losing means having a chance to still win. It's kind of a crazy logical argument, but it makes sense if you think about it. So anyways, here I'm back out. I've got magic defense buff, which means my base PDEF is all I'm sitting on right now, but thankfully not too much focus despite being on the ground. Building chi here, and I think the cleric was calling for help out that a ways, so I was gonna move over there, but then I started getting the focus. The BM and the Vino were on me. So again, you notice a Purify proc, I immediately run, and there you go. I got 10k Goth critted by a max geared BM. He's full plus 12 Jades. And that was in White Voodoo with no PDEF buffs. So if he was to get like his hardest hitting skill and get a Goth crit, he could probably hit me for 14k easily, which means if I'm not at full HP, there's definite charm bypass because I don't have bar buffs either right now, which means if I'm like anywhere above half, like if I'm at 75% HP, he could theoretically one-shot me through White Voodoo because I don't have the PDEF buffs. So that's why I'm just staying white, trying to survive as much as possible, and when a full plus 12, Jade BM is sitting on you, that means he's not sitting on somebody else, and his potential to kill me when I have Expel, I've got cooldowns, everything ready, is not good. And here, as you can see, I put up my Soul of Stunning, and he's like, I can't hit this guy, let me Fortify, and then he messes up and gets stunned anyway. So then I managed to free myself, and the wizard had been calling for help in Vent, but I couldn't get to him because the BM was there. Now that he's stunned, I can get over here. Didn't make it in time to save the wizard, but I'm here now. Immediately, start doing stuff. I'm still in White Voodoo because, A, no PDEF buffs. If I'm in Black Voodoo, that 10k Goth crit could have been 17k Goth crit, which means I could have gotten one shot. So, again, staying white to be safe, but trying to apply as much as I can. Slows, accuracy debuffs. Accuracy debuffs help us when we're fighting. Like, when their sins are trying to hit, like, our sins. In theory, an accuracy debuff makes sense, but it's kind of just because it's the widest hitting AoE, it means I'm putting out the most DPS possible. But I got tactical reversioned, I think, really, right there. And anyways, here, as you can see, the heavy armor hate came and then stopped all of a sudden. So I got into the air because I was like, no, I don't want you on me, go away. And also, our squad was like, they're like saying, we need to get into the air, stay in the air, because we know our squad functions better than their squad in the air. We have less heavy armors, and heavy armors get that advantage on the ground. They have got 4 BMs who can just run around paralyzed spamming and all this kind of stuff. And so when we get into the air and we have a bunch of LAs and AAs, the heavy armor run advantage means nothing. The fact that we have more teleporting around sins means a lot more. And so they cannot fight as efficiently as possible when they're fighting in the air. So it's just an innate, like, it's like if you watch Yu-Gi-Oh, like the battlefield advantage that you get from different, that's a really geeky reference, I apologize, but like, it's kind of like we get this innate advantage because they can't abuse as much in the air. So we get into the air to gain an advantage, therefore allow us to forward this fight. Because as you can see, with this many people, people are just dying, rezzing, coming back out, keep fighting. Actually closing out takes a lot of work. And so when we bring it into the air, what we do is we spread out the fight. Their BMs are hesitant to come up into the air because they're stronger on the ground. So we're basically picking off their archers and sins in the air. And then eventually, once we've gained our advantage, killed off a lot, we can drop to the ground and fight them with better numbers. And the reason I died right there is because I was trying to chase around my BM and Barb for buffs, because I was like, alright, I've been only magic defense and magic attack cleric buff for like a couple minutes here. I really need buffs. And so I was trying to chase them around, wasn't paying attention, and just blatant mistake on my part. Bad positioning, wasn't paying attention, just got nuked. So anyways, flew right back out. Got back in the fight, and again, we're in the air. As you can see, one of their BMs has come up, and it's a BM and an archer on me. Throw down the expel. He's going to go for some magic damage here, but really, magic damage when I'm in White Voodoo with Ink Dragon and, you know, Nation Wars Pot, it's not going to hurt me too much. Like, I have a 1 out of 40 A card in my magic defense slot, and as you can see, I'm still not really getting nuked by magic damage. Like, they don't have any really hard magic hitters, per se. So anyways, here, I'm trying to survive, and the Sin helped me out right there, and I decided to, because I saw the Sin, I was like, I'm gonna all in on that archer, blow my Apoth cooldown, just so that I can blow my Tide Spirit cooldown, and stay in Black Voodoo, despite the fact that there's a BM right next to me, and try and all in. I didn't succeed in killing him, and I blew a lot of cooldowns. Now, you might be thinking, like, as a math equation, like, okay, cooldown gone, cooldown, nothing accomplished, bad choice. But, like I said, we're in the air, there's a lot less pressure on me. I'm not going to randomly have 3 BMs run up all using their running skills, you know. So I can actually get away with doing a lot more cooldowns in the air. And as you can see, I blew my Apoth, I blew 2 sparks, and I'm going into Black Voodoo now that I have cleric buffs. And I just used Cloud Erupt, I think, because in this air, there's so much less pressure for the other side that I'm actually able to get away with stuff like that. So it's great. And anyways, now that I'm in the air, I've got at least full cleric buffs, it looks like now, finally. And so we're just picking off these targets, and we've picked off enough that we're getting ready to make the move to the ground, because when we make that move to the ground, that's like where we try to go for the finish of the fight, you know, clean this round out and like definitively win it. So as you can see, we're just kind of nuking everything in sight pretty much, and here assisting, trying to find good targets, etc., etc. And I think we wiped out most people, and here the archer was, I think he's gonna drop, yeah. And then the wizard. So as you can see at this point, there's still a couple of heavy armors on the ground fighting. Instead of joining their whole team in the air and coming up to fight, like, they stayed on the ground and fought down there, which kind of screwed them over because it was too late. By the time they got into the air, like right now, we've wiped out so many, and so we're just kind of cleaning up their guys. So you can see he drops back down to the ground because he's like, I'll be safe down there. And then this is the point where our squad was like making the call, all right, drop to the ground, go to where the BM is, let's get down there. So as you can see, some of our people have already dropped. The rest of us are going to fairly soon, I think. Like, I was still tabbing around looking for targets, but then I was like, alright, I guess it's time to hit the ground. Sorry, excuse me. So yeah, coming down, I see the cleric, and I was like, hey, they've already blown AD. That looks like a kill waiting to happen. They go into an IG, so it's like, or somebody went into an IG. Okay, yeah, the cleric went into an IG, so I was like, alright, I'm just going to build some chi on this wizard over here, put some pressure down. He throws a seal on me, which is fine, because a seal on a DD on the outer side of the fight, that's cool, but like sealing our BM, our one BM who's in the middle of the fight, is huge. So here, this is where it's just like, oh crap. I get a purge, but I managed to drop my AD, I managed to drop my Apoth, and then my squad immediately assists, right? The BM runs over to me, the cleric rebuffs, so see, I'm standing next to Kugav, and I noticed that I'm in White Voodoo with both defensive, both PDEF buffs, or not yet, there, yeah, both PDEF buffs up. So I was like, I can kind of stand here and just let them hit me. For a second, and I'm not really gonna die. I mean, I'm fully buffed in terms of physical defense. So I was absorbing a lot of damage. The Sin comes, so I'm like, alright, I'm just gonna expel, but then I was like, alright, I need to get out of this situation, because while it is nice that they're all just hitting me, if I get to the outside of the fight and some of them drop off, then I can go Black Voodoo and maybe apply some actual pressure. And so I get out of there, and as you can see, like all their team kind of like disperses, and that also frees my BM up because he was like literally standing next to me, peeling. He was trying to disarm, to stun, to slow, do everything he could to like just stop them from hitting me, even though I was technically safe. And so it's like all about knowing how to apply pressure, when to apply pressure. And here again, the cleric was dying, and I was like, I got you. Throw the ice down. Again, now that BM who was having to save me, he can actually save the cleric. So he runs over, or the barb runs over, it looks like too. And see, the barb just did his AoE stun. It's all about peeling for everybody, because if we can keep our cleric up, A, we all get to stay cleric buffed. B, she can throw a random heal in every 10 seconds between getting stunned by BM. So it provides a lot of relief on our side. And at this point, there's 3 wizards around me on my side, and we're just trying to pick off targets. And because of that pressure I was kind of in white voodoo, so I wasn't doing that much damage. But still, with 3 wizards, it's like, how much damage do I need to deal? They're gonna kill everyone for me. But I will switch to black voodoo, I think, in a little bit here once I realize that, okay, nobody's really on me, so I can probably get away with it. So here, that BM is having trouble deciding who he wants to hit. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going black voodoo, time to throw down some damage. And he got stunned by another wizard, so I'm like, alright, I'm just going to peace out and keep nuking archers, because I hate purge bows. So anyways, here, just staying on the DDs, of course, because purge is evil. Purge is the bane of my existence. And I think, as you can see, there's just a clear difference between when you're in the ground and when you're in the air. Because when you're on the ground, you have that random chance of a BM just showing up really fast, and a Sin just teleporting on you at the same time and nuking you, so you have to be really careful about it. But here, somebody called an assist on the BM, and it's like, alright, we got him. Oh wait, I got stunned by a BM, and the other wizard who I was assisting off of also got stunned by something, so it's like, dang it, we can't finish him. But here, I think it looks like I got a Psychic Will in, so it really didn't make much of a difference. But as you can see, the double BM sitting on me makes it a little bit hard to kill the third BM. But because we have so many people, and everybody's trying to, do everything they can to CC people, we do manage to eventually kill a couple of archers at the very least, and I think we're going to pick up the BMs here. And at this point in the fight, people were still calling assists on random DDs, and I was saying in vent, like, guys, we need to finish the BMs right now. We just, this BM right here is really low. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if we kill this BM, then there's only 3 BMs left. And so we get 1 BM. That means there's 3 left on the field, and somebody caught, I think they got a purge on one of the other 3 remaining BMs. And as soon as that purge happened, in my mind, I was like, we can drop him, then there will only be 2 BMs, and if we clear those 2 really fast, we'll be able to win this fight, like, hands down. So here I'm just assisting on a Seeker, waiting for it, because I think at some point somebody purged one of the other BMs is what I'm waiting to happen. But either ways, in the meantime, always just apply damage on squishy targets because you can. And as you can see, I'm in Black Voodoo, I'm fully buffed, I'm trying to just put out as much damage as possible because no heavy armor is dedicated sitting on me right now, and why not? I have full buffs. Even like with this many buffs, even a Goth crit from a BM probably won't one-shot me. Like I would have to be exactly 51% health, and they would have to hit me with like their hardest skill and get a Goth crit to get the kill right now. So anyways, here I'm just T-menuing because I was like, wait a minute, we need to focus DDs first. But then this is the point where we realized that we could finish out the BMs and win the fight, I think it was. So Archer goes down, and then Cleric we're staying on so that she doesn't just randomly rebuff or heal or anything, and she gets blown up. And this is the point, see, this BM got purged, and so we killed one like a minute ago, right? And now this one, he gets dropped, and so the people were calling targets on DDs, and I was like, no, get the BMs, we can win the fight. And so we switched to the third BM. Our Sin managed to get him down so low that when everybody turned, he pretty much just got one shot. 1 BM remaining, he's like last man standing, we kill him, and then that's GG, we win the fight, clean it up, yay karma, we win. So yeah, as you can see, it was really when we were losing pressure in the overall battle, we took it to the air, we spread out, and we tried to just pick off as much squishy stuff as possible and just reduce the numbers. And then once we had good control of the aerial situation, then we dropped to the ground and applied that same dominance there, because now that we, they have less DDs, less fully buffed people, etc., 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 we can fight on the ground. And then once we get to the ground, it's all, all our mages are focus targeting single targets and just dropping damage into them like crazy. And so yeah, that's pretty much how it went down. It was crazy PK, a lot of fun. Burned a lot of charms. Oops. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment, and I'll see you guys next time.